I'm Bernie from the makeup course, and I'm here to talk about the Oscar nominations. So first of all, there's Mary Queen of Scots. So Jenny Sherco, Mark Filcher and Jessica Brooks worked on this. So it's more traditional methods in that. So it's like scarring and time period research.
Play into their hands. Our hatred is precisely what they hope for. I know your heart has more within it than the men who counsel you.
You would do well to watch your words.
I will not be scolded by my inferior.
You're inferior.
So in the film, Margot Robbie plays Queen Elizabeth, and she's got a fake nose which is made for it because she wanted it to be like still beautiful but a bit like grotesque, because Elizabeth was known for being quite mannish, whereas Margot Robbie is quite beautiful. It's good for time period research because in the Elizabethan times they used lead to like put foundation on their faces. So the lead had then caused like smallpox and scarring and things, so they had like bloody faces. So then they put even more lead on their faces, so it was just super thick, really like textured makeup, which is shown really well in the film. Towards the end of the film, Margot Robbie starts to go a bit bald, so they use a bald cap and they have some hair tufts that are sticking off her, so she does this reveal where she takes off her red wig and it's just really like bald. She's got glycerin in her eyes, so she's crying and she's like talking to Mary Queen of Scots, who's in contrast to her really beautiful because she looks like she's not wearing any makeup. She's just got a bit of like darker foundation around her eyes to make her stand out a bit. It's good makeup, but it's just more concentrated around prosthetics work, whereas hair isn't really shown as well as it could have been because the Elizabethans had quite big hair and very like outlandish wigs, so that could have been shown a bit better. Second nomination was Border, where Göran Lundstrom and Pamela Goldhammer worked. It was shot in 38 days, so they had 38 days to make full prosthetics for like the show.
Jag råkade bara köra förbi.
Vilken överraskning.
So they had to make realistic looking humanoids. So they had like 6 and 9 prosthetic pieces which were stuck on their faces. So during filming, if they didn't film the bottom half of the face or the top half of the face, they just only applied prosthetics to that area. They gave the makeup artists about an hour to apply the prosthetics because they didn't realise that it was a 3.5 hour process. So the makeup team had to work really quickly to get that done. They did a lot of research into like deformities and things, and they wanted the characters to look a bit more animalistic, so they had like wider noses and stuff, and they punched hair into the eyebrows. Lundstrom, who actually worked on this set, says that the nominations don't represent the industry as a whole, so in Border there isn't any hair work really, it's more like prosthetics, so it's another thing. A third nomination is Vice. So Christian Bale's turned into Dick Cheney. So Christian Bale's 44 years old, so it was a task to turn him into 77-year-old Dick Cheney.
Well, George, I'm the CEO of a large company. And I have been Secretary of Defense, and I have been White House Chief of Staff. The Vice Presidency is a mostly symbolic job.
So they bleached his brows, shaved his head, and he gained 30 pounds for this. So every morning before the set, they'd like re-pluck his brows, re-bleach them, shave any parts where the hair was growing back. So they had to do a lot of research into Dick Cheney, who was like a really secretive guy. So it was quite difficult because they'd have to see how he ate or where he was affected how he looked. So whether he was more tan or how he like gained size and stuff like that. It's most likely to be one of the winners for like the Oscar nominations because there was 6 years earlier to last year's winner from The Darkest Hour where an actor's turned into Winston Churchill. There was also Margaret Thatcher for The Iron Lady. So it seems that most of the Oscar nominations for makeup and hair seems to be like when actors are turned into famous people. No, I feel like Bohemian Rhapsody should have been nominated for makeup because turning Rami Malek into Freddie Mercury was amazing. So it's because they made like mouthpieces and everything, and they really like nailed his look. Whereas Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney was sort of like just the darkest hour winning again. Whereas like they could have had more hair work or fantasy work because there's Black Panther and everything, where they had to reimagine this whole new thing rather than just recreating. So it seems like Oscar winners just it wins for recreating somebody who's lived before rather than something that's new and has been like invented from makeup designers.
Do you know any past winners? Any more past winners?
I know wasn't Wonder nominated before.
Wonder's been nominated. It didn't win. It came third.
Yeah, and I feel like Wonder should have won because it was to get an actor that young to be comfortable with like prosthetics and things is amazing anyway, so they've had to work really closely with him to get him comfortable with it. And as well as that, it just like had like sort of a political point almost, like it was just getting everybody used to deformities and stuff, you know, like it just should have been a winner of that one. I don't know.
So who do you think's going to win? Out of order, Mary Queen of Scots and Vice.
I'd say Mary Queen of Scots because it includes most of like the makeup arts industry and represents most of it because it has more hair work than any of the others. It has time period research and then how medical things like smallpox develops and then how it continues. It's got good continuity, and as well as that, it's just really like it's a whole new take on Queen Elizabeth because she's been done so many times before in film and TV, whereas this time it's like totally shocking and it's just new. Okay, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.